So, hello, early career pharmacists from all over the world joining us today. We're bringing to you another exciting interview as for public relations for the early career pharmaceutical group of FIP. And today I'm not alone. Joining me is Meshkat. I'll allow her to introduce herself at this point.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Maria. Thank you, Emily. I'm Meshkat, and I'm the publication team coordinator for this mandate. And we are having a fantastic guest for this meeting. And we are going to do the interview, both of us, me and Emily, with Maria. And I hope that you enjoy watching this. And I'm sure we will learn a lot from your experiences, Maria. And I want to start the meeting with further ado. Please introduce yourself and could you tell us about your educational background and current role?
Yeah, thank you. So I am from training a pharmacist, but also a master in biotechnology. I did all my studies in Argentina, and then I moved to France to do my PhD. I have a PhD in molecular and cellular biology. And then in 2022, I moved to Belgium to do my postdoc. So now I'm well advanced in my postdoctoral studies. And all during my career as an undergraduate, but also as a graduate student, and now as my postdoc, I've been working on cancer research. So kind of that's my field. In the link with the metabolism, how the metabolism of cancer cells is affected due to treatments and how we can prevent that. And so my current role is to be a postdoctoral scientist in lab, and I'm also in my pathway to independence, hopefully one day to have my own group.
Amazing. We wish you best of luck with the research, and I hope that we and all of the people around the world will benefit from the result of your research. Thanks a lot. And what inspired you to pursue a postdoctoral degree? And what was the main reason to continue education to higher levels?
So I think I have kind of the weird profile that I've always wanted to be a scientist since I was really a child, and I was breaking things to know how they were built on. And so I think for me it was kind of obvious to do a postdoc, because kind of is the line you do your master's, then your PhD, and then after your PhD, if you want to become a PI, most of the cases, let's say in the 95% of the cases, you need to do a postdoctoral time, longer or shorter, it might depend. And then from there, you could become a PI. There are cases where people move directly from the PhD, but it's quite rare. So I think for me it was kind of obvious, because I've always wanted to be a scientist. And I dreamed of having my own line of research and my own team. So I think it was kind of the way to go.
So the person in charge, yeah, in the lab and doing the research, it's kind of a huge responsibility, actually, I think. And it's great that you would like to do that. And can you share one defining moment that solidified your decision, to delve into scientific research? What was the main trigger for you to become a scientist? you are a scientist, and I am sure that there was a point, something somewhere in your life that changed your path to become a scientist.
Yeah, I think that's it plays a role that my mom is also a pharmacist, but she's a community pharmacist. So all of my life, I grew up seeing her work as a community pharmacist, and I really liked that. But I always told her, like, I want to be a pharmacist because I like what you do, but I know that I can't do the same as you because I don't have the same passion as you to be with the patients every single day. I also want to help the patients, but I don't picture myself doing that. And in Argentina, there is a lot of still formulations that can be done in the pharmacy. And my mom has a little lab in her pharmacy where she prepares some formulations for patients with pain. So because she's specialized in pain management for cancer patients. And I think that was my favorite spot on the pharmacy, the lab. And also by seeing all those things she was doing with the cancer patients, like helping on the pain management, I think that was kind of the moment I decided that for me, the lab was the way I would be able to help the patients, and that cancer research was what I wanted to pursue.
Amazing, amazing. So, actually, I noticed something interesting in Argentina. Did she do the compounding? Yeah, or it was like pills or capsules? Because pain management for cancer patient is a very complicated thing, and I didn't see anything like this in Iran in community pharmacies.
Yeah, in Argentina, there are still these things, so it's really kind of well regulated, and pharmacies undergo a lot of control for that. But yeah, there are still some preparations or formulations for syrups of morphine, codeine, and things like that for pain management, and that they are tailored for each patient. So the oncologist gives the formulation uh, according to all the needs of that particular patient, and they are done for each patient.
Oh, that's interesting. Thank
Yeah.
you very much. Thank you. So, yeah, for the second section of this interview, I would like to Emily to do this interview. Please, go ahead, Emily.
Yeah, thank you, Meshkat. I personally like the fact that you took the baton from your mom and you went into pharmacy just as she did. But I would like to ask you about your work in FIP. I'm aware that you served in the ECPG in your time as an early career pharmacist, and now you're currently the vice chair of the next generation of pharmaceutical scientists. So I'd like for you to explain to us what your role entails and what a typical day in your life as a vice chair of the NGPS SIG in FIP is like.
Yeah. So still, I think since a while now. So I'm there since end of last year. And the thing that was nice is that I transitioned actually from being the liaison of NGPS to becoming the vice chair of NGPS, and that was really nice. Um, because in a way that I think that I learned like from being of both sides at the beginning, and I had the opportunity to learn from all the ex-co members of NGPS before becoming the vice chair. So that was a nice transition, I guess. And what does entail? So actually, if I can say that, I'm kind of the secretary slash pushing for meetings, one on the team, and the one trying to build up new ideas for our younger members. I think the fact that I'm not so far away. I've been not so long ago in ECBG, gives me still this like a dual. I have my feet in both places, so I think I am the member who's trying to really help build this this new generation of pharmaceutical scientists, and trying to convince also more younger ones that pursuing a career in pharmaceutical sciences is not a bad idea.
Great. I think that Emily lost her internet connection, so it was a really good thing to know. And it's really good that someone who had the background of working with ECPG is now in the working body, and you understand what it means to be a part of ECPG, and we are trying to liaise with all the BPP and other the interest groups of FIP, and it's good to have someone with your background in the FIP. Thank you very much. And if you would like to name achievement and accomplishment in your life, in your scientific life, or in FIP during your student time, even undergraduate period of education, what was the most proud moment of your professional career? What like to tell us about it?
Yeah. So I think, of course, there are many good times in the career, but I think that's being said what I mentioned earlier, that I wanted to help the patients, but I knew that I couldn't do it from being a community pharmacist, but rather like by working in the lab. Last year, I had the opportunity to actually be decideful for the therapy of a patient that had a really strange case, and the medical doctors in the hospital next to our lab were struggling to give like which therapy to give, because this patient was resistant for many therapies. And so I'm doing a technique in my lab, which are called organoids, so we can culture the patient cells, so the tumor cells, in the dish, and then when these cells with these organoids, we can then perform assays, for example, for testing drug sensitivity. And for this particular patient, we could found one therapy that could be beneficial for this patient that was resistant to many of them. And finally, this patient received the therapy that we found, and but it worked so well that I actually had to stop the treatment because everything was like being destroyed, and he had metastases everywhere. I think that was I'm proud of that, because I think that's how what we are doing can matter in a way, and can then in the future be something that we could do to help the medical doctors when they struggle to find therapies for patients who have multiple resistant tumors or metastases. And And I think I was proud of that because it was the first time where, by being a pharmacist, I was really able to help a patient from the lab, which is kind of really amazing.
I'm sure that was a proud experience. Actually, I am proud that I'm now interviewing you because, you know, it's a life of not just one, because the breakthrough, because of that treatment can benefit many people. So congratulations on that accomplishment. Have there been any particular project or research that you were especially meaningful or impactful?
For me or for the career, or my career, do you mean? Like
a project that really boosted your career, you know, and yeah.
Yeah, I think that something that was for me as a scientist, but also I think it's an important subject, and I would like to continue on that in the future if I can. Was my PhD project, where I was studying how thyroid hormones might have an impact on resistance to chemotherapy in colorectal cancer. And we found that hyperthyroid patients might be more resistant or more sensitive to one type of therapy and more resistant to another one. And I think that's for me also really critical thinking that I built with this project, that I think has a lot of translational potential, but also it helped me a lot to think as a scientist of new projects and so on. And I think that helped me build actually all the other stories that I'm building in current lab, and actually the one I'm now trying to move forward as part of my own independent work, which I'm applying to grants to move that project forward, which is trying to link things that sometimes we not take into consideration sometimes when we are thinking of impact on therapy resistant progression of a disease, which are the vitamins and the hormones, that are things which we have or deficiencies or excess sometimes, and also depending on where we are in the world, this is more or less true. But that have a huge impact in our health, and sometimes we overlooked at them.
Great, thank you very much. And you said your project and your thesis, it about the patient you said the medical doctor consulted you about, and I found it like you are doing something like personalized medicine, and how does personalized medicine, the work you are doing, contribute to the UHC and global health? Do you see it to be implemented in a near future?
Yes, I think that there are two things actually. Precision medicine, it's great because now we can also give more tailored treatments to patients based on, for example, a particular mutation that they have in case of cancer, you know, or a particular thing that these tumors show, and so we can tackle them like with normal therapies, but also with immunotherapy, CAR T cells, many things. The thing that is also a problem sometimes, and that's also what we do in our lab, is that even though we have this big like really cool tools and treatments and so on, that they are supposed to be more precise, avoid side effects, or avoid also the recurrence of the tumor because of this particular mutation that makes them more aggressive, we still see resistance. And for the case of the patient I mentioned earlier, this patient was resistant to 3 targeted therapies. So, which means that there is something that we are still missing. And in our lab, we believe that the metabolism of these cells can be changed based on different things. And that is something that might have an impact on this response and can be something that can overrule all those differences of the tumors. And we can find something that can complement those therapies by targeting the metabolism. So I think that precision medicine is great, but sometimes when we go so deep or so precise in something, then we found these things which make them even harder, and we need to go back behind a bit and then see the bigger picture and then trying to tackle that. So I think it can help, but we need to keep in mind both things.
Great. So the narrow lens and the broader lenses in managing a patient both make difference. Yeah, I totally agree. Thanks a lot. And as an early career pharmacist and now it's a student in your lab, did you find any challenge? Did you face any challenge? And how did you overcome them? This is the section 4 of the interview. We would like to know the challenges, how you manage them, how did it help you to grow, and the mentoring and performance.
So yeah, I think that challenges, there are many. For me, one of the first was when I've moved from Argentina to France, a cultural one, a language-wise one, because I didn't know how to speak French at all. So I had to learn that from zero. So now I'm really good at that. But in that moment was really a struggle that made me feel out of many of the conversations with my colleagues and things that were going on in the everyday life. So that, I think, it's a big challenge, especially if you work on research, because research is really international, and sometimes you move abroad, and sometimes you move abroad to a country where you don't know how to speak the language. In the lab, everyone speaks English for science, so there it's okay. But then for the everyday things, you missed out and a lot of things. So that's the first one. Then when you live abroad, also you are far from your family, and then birthdays are difficult. When you are sad, it's difficult. You don't have your friends, your family to support you. They're over a WhatsApp call, maybe, but doesn't replace a hug. So those things are, I think, a big a challenge when you want to pursue this type of life. But then on the professional level, you commit a lot of hours because unfortunately, still it happens in some labs that the work-life balance is not great, and you end up working more time than you should be working. Sometimes you have to work on the weekends because you have a deadline for a grant, or there is a conference during the weekend, or there is also cells which have to be taken care on the weekends. If you have mice, you need to go every day to check on them. So you kind of have to be passionate, I guess, because if not, it can be a big challenge to have to commit that much. Sometimes you do it because you love your job, and then it's okay, I will have to pass by the lab and then I will do all the other things I would do on a weekend. But I think that the challenge is, and the most difficult one, I guess, right now for me, is the uncertainty of the job. So now I'm a postdoc, and when you're a postdoc, it's for 2-3 years. But so here in Belgium, in my university, I'm employed for 3 years, but since 3 years I have a contract that is 1-year contract that is renewing each year. So if you have to apply for visas, then that's a nightmare because you also have to do paperwork and every year renew your visa. And then also when you want to hire, like take an apartment and so on, everything is difficult with that. You cannot buy a house because you cannot go to the bank and say like, but I promise it's 3 years. It's just that every year I will get 1 year one. And so like I think right now the worst challenge for me, and accepting that uncertainty is really killing people.
Right. So it was quite interesting learning about your challenges, and I think I can relate because currently I moved to a new city, although I'm still in my country, but it's totally different from the south part of my country, and I have to learn a new language. I have to blend into their culture and all of that. So I think I can relate to that. So moving on to our next question. Mentors are the giant professionals. You know that you currently are experiences, but I'd like to learn about the mentors that helped you shape your career. Could you share with us some of the mentors you had and how they help particularly in your career?
Yeah, so I think that I had really a lot of mentors. If now I think back, but really I have been mentored, like specifically named like that, since the end of 2023. So during my undergraduate, I think that my boss, so from my master's, when I was in the lab, she was kind of a great mentor for me, but nothing like really particular that we were talking outside of the lab about what I was struggling. So I took the opportunity to participate in a mentorship program that was launched by the Association of Cancer Research here in Europe. And there I got one of my mentors, which is Amanda, which is a PI in a lab in the UK. So we never met in person, but we've met by Teams, and we try to meet once per month. Sometimes it takes longer because we are both really busy. And what I've loved to do with her is to like discuss about how it's going in the lab. When I have issues that I don't know how to do it or I'm unsure, she's been of the greatest help on trying to manage my work-life balance, trying to say no to things to earn some time, because I struggle a lot with that. And I think that was my first mentor, like really mentor. And it was an amazing opportunity that I started talking about my mentor to everyone, telling everyone, get a mentor, is amazing, blah, blah. And so then I also had this year the opportunity of participating in the mentorship program from ECPG, where I am mentor and mentee. So I'm both actually at the same time, and it's really nice to be in both positions at the same time. So as a mentee, my mentor is Miranda Sertic, which is also an FIP member that was also ECPG member, and she's also a researcher. We are not doing exactly the same things in the lab, but also she's been of a great help on trying to tackle other questions I had, like, for example, I would like to be a mom in the future, and she's a mom and a scientist, and I always wonder how scientist moms do it, because it's like how it's impossible. So she helped me a lot of trying to figure out that. Same as because of this uncertainty, I wanted to also learn how to I don't know, find another job in case I could not become a PI and have my own group. And so Miranda helped me a lot on that too. And I think the best thing of having a mentor is that they are not my boss. So then it's less of a conflict if we have to talk about tricky things like that. But also my boss, now that I'm applying for this grant and for being a PI, he's really supportive too. So I think he's kind of also a mentor, but in a different way. And from what I learned also by doing these mentorships, different ones, is that you need several mentors because you will have a mentor for something in particular. And not all your mentors should give you exactly the same thing, and that's the beauty of having several ones. And as a mentor, I hope I'm good. You can ask to Emily. But it's for me as a mentor to be
I was with them now that you've mentioned.
but for me it's a
Now
great
that she's
pleasure.
mentioned it, yes, she is my mentor. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me it's a great
And
pleasure.
I would admit it. You've been an awesome
Thank you.
mentor
Thank
to
you.
me from this month. And heard what you said of pharmacists. Go on to the journey of mentorship, both of receiving mentorship and of giving. So thank you very much. Thank you so much, Dr. Maria. Okay, so moving on. This is another interesting question that will be very useful to early career pharmacists watching this right now. So what advice do you have for early career pharmacists who are particularly looking at delving into the area of research? What advice do you have to give to them? Somebody who just started the journey, but they're still having a hard time navigating their way, or what do you have to say to them?
I would say that, like maybe in two things. I think that one of the things you need to be well in a research is always to be curious. I think that's the most important one, but in all senses. Like, if you're trying to explore what to do really in your research, because there are plenty of things in the research field, uh, you should be curious and try to contact people that might be working on what you think you might like. If you have opportunities while you're an undergraduate to do a research stage in a lab, for example, then go ahead, do it. Sometimes it can be during your summer, but I think that's kind of what I mentioned before. Sometimes you need to do some compromises, but you will not regret to have checked different things before committing to one, because maybe you think you like cancer research and then you go to the lab, you do cancer research and say, no, this is not for me. Maybe I should do neurology. I don't know. I don't like cancer. That's the first one. And then once you are there or moving forward there, for doing a master's or a PhD or something for. I think the most important thing is to then find a lab that you would see yourself there, you will fit in. You need to talk a lot about the people who've been in those labs and how the PI it is, how things work there, to see if you see yourself there. And sometimes the project, we think that what you will be doing the project should be the most important thing, but sometimes the atmosphere of the lab can be more important, because if you have a project that you like but you don't love, it's okay. But to go to a lab every day that you don't like, then it's a problem. So I think that for those who want to do research, I think the most important thing is like to start and explore, be curious in all senses, and don't be afraid of asking all the nasty questions to the people who's working in the lab, because then you can learn really how it works.
Yes, so you heard it. Start, be curious, be inquisitive. Do not be afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, and also, if I may add,
Well, at the end of the day. Thank you for this. Okay.
yeah, Emily, if I may add something else, I would add something that if you are already a researcher, I think that something that one of my mentors said to me once, it's really important, which is fail fast. Don't be afraid of failing, and try to fail as soon as possible, because then you would move forward faster.
That was some
Yeah.
sentence. Yeah, really impactful.
Yeah.
Thank you very much,
So personal to
Maria.
me. Okay. Mesh, guys, you can go ahead.
Thank you very much, Maria. Thank you very much, Emily. And I would like to, we had a quiet, great time with you, Maria. I would like to ask you to add anything else you would like to, as a closing to this interview, if there is any belief that inspires you in your work and life. If you would like to express anything to the ECPG and ECPG members, what would it be? And this is your time for adding anything that we didn't cover in this interview. Please feel free.
Thank you. No, I think what I would say is like the same as before. Just don't forget to be curious, to think that there is a saying that I like from Marie Curie, that she was saying kind of something like when you are in the lab, you are like a kid hearing fairy tales, because it's like the first time you are finding something that no one else found before. And so that is something that I find amazing, that when you have a really nice result that is the first time, and then it goes off what you thought, it was like, yeah, it's so amazing. So keep curiosity, keep thinking outside of the box, because that's where the great things are. And as I said before, fail fast, because also by doing mistakes you learn more sometimes than when you do everything right. So I think that we learn the most when we fail, and you will fail a lot.
Great, thanks a lot, and thank you very much once again. If there isn't anything else, Emily, to add, we now end the meeting and this interview.
Really, I talk to us. Personally, I have key takeaways from all that you've said. And I think I should also encourage those that are watching this right now that they shouldn't be afraid of failing. Instead, what you should be afraid of is not trying at all, because the real losers are those who do not try and not those who fail. Okay, I'm going to stop there for now. Over to you, Meshka.
Thank you all, and have a nice night. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.